Welcome back to our show. I'm here, of course, with three of my panelists. We've never had all five of you this time because Mr. Edwards is on a vacation to the Catskills, where he'll be taking long walks through the mountains. So, gentlemen, last time it was me. You all seemed to back off pretty quickly when I told you some of my teams, which is hilarious because this is what happens when you draft with random people on ESPN. They just don't know what they're doing. They don't play like us. Spoiler alert. The only one here who's ever won a championship is me. Actually, that's not true. Gio finally won one a couple
Excuse me. I sold my soul for a championship 2 years ago. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's just 2 years ago that you...
And I've made mini runs. I've had runs.
Listen, I was the Buffalo Bills until I won my title.
Runs,
I made 4 straight finals.
The only place you had runs was when you were sitting on the toilet, Taylor, all right? So let's be clear here.
Not while I'm drinking water, bro.
You gotta let those kidneys filter out that crap because you can't bring that stuff on draft day. So we went through mine. For the record, I actually have won 5 championships in my fantasy league. Everybody hates me now because of this. They all try to take me down. That's why Millz came up with the nickname Thanos. So in honor of Millz, who definitely never feels good when he plays me. Taylor, let's hear about your all-Yankees strategy.
Whoa. Okay.
So Tyler wait in the first round, and then I wait for DJ LeMahieu to drop, but he never does. And when he doesn't drop to me, I pick Luke Voigt. And then when I pick Luke Voigt after that, I pick Aaron Boone because 2003.
What are you talking about? First overall pick, Aaron Hicks.
Oh, God.
I'm so glad I didn't drink any of this. Because if I did and you said that, it would be all over this camera right now.
All right, so
first overall pick.
I was ready for Judge, and then he came out with Hicks, and I was like, oh, God, no.
I understand the inside joke. That's why.
Yeah, because the inside joke is that me and Aaron Hicks don't get along. Let's just put it that way.
Millz would rather draft Dustin Ackley than Aaron Hicks.
Yeah. I drafted Hicks last year.
Wow.
I did. And guess what? He had a terrible season. And you know why? It's because he was on my team. So it just goes.
It's almost like he's got the
Tyrell Williams
effect.
Anyway.
Gio, did you just say it's the Tyrell Williams effect? So did I.
It all comes full circle.
Anyway, anyone, Josh, who goes all-team strategy, anyone who goes with an all-team strategy on their fantasy team is absolutely nuts. Let's just put it that way. So the way I'm approaching it across all of my drafts, whether it's ESPN and I'm also in 2 Yahoo leagues. Why? I don't know, but here I am. I'm going for balance. And the reason why is because there's a lot of positions where there's a deep roster. For example, shortstops have a lot of depth to them. You can find a really great shortstop in the hundreds, in the 200s section. And that's something Adam was talking about in the last episode, that you can find a lot of good players deep in the draft, including outfielders as well, who are going to put up consistent numbers, get you walks, get you hits, hit for average, get on base. And that's just how, that depth perception of the league is going to work this year. I'm hesitating a little bit on stacking workhorse pitchers. And here's why. This year, there's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter that some teams might roll with a 6-man rotation, which means teams like the Yankees, the Padres, the Dodgers, maybe even the White Sox, the Athletics, the Rays. There's a possibility that all of those innings are going to get eaten up by relievers and starters that they're going to keep calling up from the minor leagues. In which case, there's less chance of strikeouts, inconsistencies within time of the week that people are starting. You're going to have to move around a lot of players. Sometimes that's a possibility. One of my issues overall is actually, and this is something that I know I have to do a little bit more work on, is after Freddie Freeman and Luke Voigt, first base is a little bit sketchy. there's not a lot of depth for first base. Of course, you have your consistencies like, Joey Votto, who's a comeback player of the year candidate, who could sneak back in. Vlad Guerrero this year is going to be first baseman, if I'm not mistaken. So after a while, he'll be registering points for that. Those points, you can totally get it. Where I know I'm weakest is my outfield, which is why I'm looking at guys overall like Ronald Acuna. I don't know if he's a number 2 player yet. I would tend to agree with Adam in the last episode that Juan Soto probably should be ranked higher than Acuna. I don't know if Mookie Betts, for me, should be ranked that high as well. I'm very surprised Mike Trout dropped 4 spots. I know we keep saying, right, like Mike Trout's number 1 player every single year, and like this is the first year since his rookie year that he hasn't been, or maybe his sophomore year that he hasn't been the number 1 ranked. And then of course you got your players that are going to be consistent. Wholeheartedly go for guys where the depth of the roster are thin. And that's why I'm looking at places like first base as a balancing act. I'm looking at third base as well, because Jose Ramirez is a top-ranking third baseman at number 9. And then all the way down after that, you got Manny Machado. And then after that, Alex Bregman, Rafael Devers, Nolan Arenado, not even top 5. Projections are here and there. You can't judge your team based on projections alone. You have to look at what they got in the last year, how they performed, how old are they, what team they're on, what division they're on. Those are all factors into drafting. And for me, I'm staying far away from things like the NL East, because that's going to be a powerhouse this year. I'm staying away a little bit from the NL West, except for top-tier players like Bellinger, Bauer. That's just my approach for it for now. Obviously, within the next couple of weeks, things can change. Injuries happen. We're sitting today's March 19th as we record this. Season starts in about 13 days. So who knows who gets hurt? Rankings could change based on that. So that's my approach going into next Friday. I'm trying to balance my team out the best I can, because I've had trouble doing that in the past.
All right. Well, my first question to you, sir, is who is your first overall pick?
My first overall pick, I'm picking Mike Trout still. Some people might say it's a reach. I'm taking Mike Trout. He's been consistently a player.
Would not call Trout a reach at 1, dude.
Yeah, we're not gonna call Mike Trout a reach here.
Yeah, no, we won't.
But some people would, and those people are
wrong.
If they think that's self-explanatory why they will never be on this show.
Facts.
That's not just outlandish claims. That's disrespectful words.
Saying Mike Trout is not a viable top pick is like saying Mickey Mantle was not the best center fielder in his era.
It's true. It's true.
Can't say it better.
Also, that dog made a good point.
Yeah, Merlin speaks his mind.
He does. It's true.
Consistently.
Was that your question, Adam?
That was my first question, but I will not hog the floor with multiple questions at one time.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna ask because I remember, Millz, you mentioned you said you wouldn't take players in a division like the NL East, like any of those 5 teams at all?
Well, no. So obviously it's gonna have to it has to depend on what you've drafted and who you're looking at. Am I looking at Francisco Lindor? Yeah, of course I am. Am I looking at Jacob deGrom? Absolutely. In a stacked division as it is, and it's improved, every team has arguably improved this offseason. It wouldn't shock me if they perform lower than expected. Yeah, something that stood out to me this year while I was looking through these rankings over the last couple of days, how thin the positions actually are. And how far people have fallen off. Jose Altuve is 3 years removed from being a top 5 pick. And he's now, where is he? In the 90s. I think I saw him in the 90s or.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Lord.
Paul Goldschmidt's
84. He's 84 now. Oh, Goldschmidt. Yeah, Goldschmidt. After Freeman, Bellinger, Goldschmidt. You got number 4, Luke Voigt, probably.
Vladdy Jr. at 5.
Yeah.
Insane.
And then obviously catcher would probably be the thinnest position with Sal Perez.
No, trust me, I'll get into that. I will get into that.
Yeah.
Will Smith, I think, is obviously going to be the best choice if you want to waste it. Not even waste, but I mean, Will Smith is your best choice, and he's around the top hundreds ish.
Yeah, but in reality, you shouldn't even be looking at a catcher until at earliest round 8, 9.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I mean, it's almost like I'm sorry, JT Realmuto is at 65, but still, it's I certainly wouldn't recommend, like someone did who's not on this podcast, drafting a catcher with their third pick.
Hit.
Who did
Gio's cousin, JT Realmuto.
Oh yeah, Anthony.
Anthony wanted to take JT? He's great.
He did.
Yeah.
No, he did.
Oh, he did last year?
Yeah, he did.
Well, but it's weird because when you're in a snake draft, right? Like if you're the number 1 overall pick, and if you're in like somebody like my position, like I said, if I'm the number 1 pick and I'm taking Mike Trout, I don't pick again until pick 20. That's a long time, and a lot of good players come off the board in just that short amount of time. Yeah, I get the double back-to-back picks, so I'm going to take hopefully 2 top pitchers. That's probably the strategy a number 1 overall pick should go for, is position player, back-to-back position pitchers, and then retransition it out and do the best you can with it.
Right. My question then, so you're going for balance.
As everything should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thanos, you should know all about that.
Sounds like something I'd be going for is balance. What is your, because there are 4 now there's 4 bench slots. So here's my question for you. What is your ideal balance of bench slots for pitchers and offense?
It's tough because even like the real teams are having this issue too, whether or not to take the extra pitcher. I think it's a on the fly decision. You save 1 spot at the end, at the last couple rounds, and make the decision at that moment. Are you going to roll with that pitcher, or are you going to roll with another bench player? If somebody's on the board that's a bench and you can't pass it up, like a Mark Canha. If Mark Canha is available late and your roster's almost filled up, take Mark Canha. If he's not, or somebody else is not available that you were looking at, or they just got taken, roll with somebody who's not ranked on a pitching on the pitching aspect. Like, I didn't see Adam Ottavino here. There are guys out there that can get you your points. Brandon Workman. I'm just thinking like the Red Sox bullpen this year, which will be probably mostly a dumpster fire, but
Adam Ottavino is the 40th ranked relief pitcher.
Yeah. And does that crack the top 300?
No.
Yeah.
All right, well, it doesn't look like we have too many more questions here. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back next time with Gio's picks because, just a reminder, Demetrius asked to go last. See you then.